The All Black podcast is powered by our official cloud software partner, SAP, helping our teams in black become the best run teams in sport. To listen to this episode and all the All Black podcasts, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts. This is the All Blacks podcast.
Kia ora whanau, welcome to episode 11 of the All Black podcast, powered by SAP. One day out from the opening day of the Women's World Cup at Eden Park. It's taken a wee while to get to this point, but we're finally here. Tomorrow, triple header, concert from global superstar Rita Ora, and probably, hopefully, I have no doubt, a world record crowd for a Women's World Cup fixture. How good. To talk all things World Cup and women's rugby, welcome Black Ferns Theresa, Nat and Ayesha. How are you going, girls?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Who's had the most media training? Who's done the most of this stuff? Who's going to be the one who dominates things in here today?
Definitely Natalie.
Oh, Fitzy for sure. Fitzy.
Yeah, bit of the seven stuff, you reckon? She's done a little bit of time in front of the mic. She's pretty polished.
I think it's just because I'm the oldest. I'm the nana in this group.
Girls, it goes from famine to feast when you think about for a couple of years. Yeah, it was really, really hard to play footy. COVID for a couple of years, no international footy whatsoever. And then this year we've had inaugural Super Rugby competitions for our Wahine. We've had FPC. We've had major pinnacle events for our Sevens girls at the Com Games and the World Cup. We've had more test matches this year for the Black Ferns than we've had for the last 4 or 5 years. And then finally, at the end of that really long journey, the journey begins. The World Cup starts tomorrow. Is that a good thing? You can prepare so long, but is it just actually great to finally be there and know that tomorrow, we're into it?
Yeah, it has been a long time coming. This year's very packed full of women's rugby, which has been in one way challenging just to, get through it all. And I guess the cool thing though is that it's just building and building and building and building, and now here in New Zealand we get the opportunity to play the Women's Rugby World Cup here, so it's
the big dance.
Finishing on a high, I think.
I suppose too, you guys are high performance athletes, and I always hear, a lot of the players that we chat to, you just break it down, don't you? You break it down into little goals, little milestones throughout the year, rather, I suppose, than worrying about what's going to happen in September, October. I suppose you guys have just gone one little step at the time with the domestic competitions. Is that what it's been like for you? Let's just try and nail, the comp that's in front of you each time throughout the year?
Yep. With Pack 4, so basically we did focus on each tournament that we had. Cool. And then looking now, we're already here at Rugby World Cup. It's gone by so fast, and with the coaches that we have to as well, it's been awesome. It's
been so cool, hasn't it? And I know just when we were driving here, getting ready to come into the studio, there's a bit of advertising around, bit of marketing, bit of merchandise. Has it been quite cool, girls, to all of a sudden see your faces on the TV and maybe walking down the street there and being asked for a few autographs and being a little bit of a superstar, really? Have you enjoyed that?
It's been pretty cool. It's not my face on the billboard yet, but, soon will be. But
absolutely.
I think we were on the bus and we were driving along, and then there's a big billboard of Alana Bremner, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Lars, yeah!" Everyone was super stoked. Yeah. Just to have one of the Black Ferns girls out there for everyone to see. Yeah. Pretty cool.
So good. And what is we're here. A couple of tomorrow, game on, big dance. What does today look like, and what does tomorrow look like for you guys? I know your fixture is the last in the triple header tomorrow at 7:15, but what do we need to get done today? You got to get me out of the way, get rid of this fella, and then on to the next thing. What does today look like? What does tomorrow look like as you lead up to the first match of the cup?
I think we've got a pretty chill morning. Yep. Then we head on over to lunch, lunch, gym session, and then captain's run.
Happy days.
Yeah, happy days.
Yep. And I know you guys just about trying to help that team starting tomorrow prepare the best they possibly can, making sure it's all nice and tight and tidy. And then tomorrow, do we treat ourselves to a bit of the global superstar that is Rita Ora? I assume the toes will be tapping under the chair there, or do you guys only get to turn up sort of right before the last game kicks off? Are you a fan? You know, like, are you going to be a bit starstruck tomorrow at the concert?
I wouldn't be surprised if Ayesha goes up
Yeah.
and sings.
I was just going to say.
You know, I might be the one up there on the stage.
Move over, Rita.
Yeah, but it's cool though because even though we may not be playing tomorrow, our job and the team are backbones, and we're going to be
I like
there.
it. Backbone, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll be there encouraging our girls and doing anything they need for us to prep for the game.
Yeah, so good. So good. And look, you know, this will go out this afternoon, so we've got the tournament starting off tomorrow. I heard we've sold a heap of tickets, but I think there's a few more. Is it like, we can still get tickets, can't we? How much are they? Do you know? And if you're not in Auckland or not travelling to Auckland, where are we watching this? Can we let people know?
Yeah, so I think there's under maybe 1,500.
Wow.
left.
So you've got to be in quick to get the
Yeah,
last
So
spots.
I'm pretty sure.
What's that,
Very,
Teresa?
very
Is
affordable.
600 tickets gone to your far now? Or like, you know?
Maybe. I am from Auckland, so a lot of my family and friends are going to come and support, and hopefully Auckland weather will provide.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
hope
If it rains, it
Still
can
waiting.
rain earlier in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got to dress for all 4 seasons when you come to the game. It'll be an awesome atmosphere, though, so if you don't have a ticket,
Get in.
Get it.
yeah.
And if you
get one.
can't, if you're not making your way to Auckland and you want to watch it, I think it's on Spark Sport, isn't it? So make sure you tune in there. Girls, bit of a warm-up before we get into the thick of it. And we ask these questions to everyone who comes into the studio, and I want to do the same for you guys. Favourite sports stars growing up and why? Start with you, Nat.
Pass it on to Fitzy.
Nice.
Let me
Take
think.
your time. I like that
Nice.
delegation.
Got a little offload there. My one would probably be Serena Williams.
Oh, how good.
I have an older sister, and so we probably, we had a little go at tennis. Just wasn't for us, me and my sister. We were like, oh yeah, Venus and Serena, because she's really tall. And I didn't get the height. And so she was Venus and I was Serena, but tennis didn't work out for us.
Yeah. The more the contact than you've gone. The contact sports or the speed. Yeah, 100%. Aish?
Mine would be Catherine Latu,
Oh, nice.
the netball. Yep, Silver Ferns.
She was awesome.
She's amazing, and the way she portrays herself, knowing that she's different, and she speaks on behalf of, I don't know, all Pacific Islanders, and it's cool.
She owns it, eh? Like,
Yeah.
she is who she is, and she lets you know that she is such a good athlete. Yeah. Nat, come on.
I actually don't think I have it.
Oh my God. Well, it's a work on. We can find one.
Yeah,
we can find one.
I was brought up in
Right
like a
here.
small country town, so I just got out and played sport, never really watched TV or looked up
Mum
to
and the
anyone.
aunties and dad or whatever.
The
cousins,
the mates down the road. That's it.
Happy days. Pick up
Yeah.
games, no worries.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. No, that's as good as anything. Music and sports is such a big thing. I can see it's a massive thing with you guys as well when I look at some of the stuff that comes through the gram and in the team pages. If you're going on a long bus ride, who would you let be to a DJ? Who's going to serve the bus the best? You can throw them in the deep end, you can throw them in the shallow end, like whatever you want to do, girls.
Tanya's been our DJ
Yeah.
Tanya's
on the
a pretty
bus,
good DJ.
Yeah.
but if you want a real DJ, I would go for Pungle.
Yeah.
Pungo, yeah.
Better than just Spotify. She's actually got
all
Got
the
her
machines.
deck. She's been teaching me a little some
Oh,
little
there we
tricks.
go.
Yeah.
Natiga might make a
DJ
guest.
Natiga.
Yeah. She's got the experience
Yeah.
as well, doesn't
She
she?
does.
She can cater
Yeah.
for the whole bus. She knows the right music for the right time, I assume.
Yeah.
You know, she's a legend. Okay, cool. One each. If we're having at your flat, girls, and we're having a little dinner party and we're allowed to invite one person, who is it? One each. You have to start this time. It's on you.
Ted.
How good.
I'll invite Ted for sure.
How good.
I'm not allowing that.
Because Ted's yours or
Teddy bear. that's
Ted's
his
your
name.
teddy bear? How good. Graham Henry, he'll love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Another
I
one.
call him
Natalie.
that. So
Do we call him Big Ted or just Ted? Like,
everyone calls him Ted. I call him Teddy bear.
so good.
I guess you can have him.
Do you want another one? Are you taking Ted then?
No, that's fine. He'll say no anyway. Mine would be Mark Wahlberg. He's my favourite actor.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm coming. Yep.
Oh. So are they cooking? Are they cooking? Or are we cooking for them?
I don't think I think you guys are cooking. Yeah, it's your flat.
I was
It's
gonna
your
say I
dinner
was gonna
party.
invite a chef, but
yeah, that actually has been done before. Genius.
Oh,
Genius.
okay. I'm going to go for Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, wow. Yeah, cool.
Why?
Since I think we've been talking about Rita Ora, so I was like, oh, someone else who could stop me.
What a dinner party. What an eclectic mix of people. And what are we cooking then? I know Ted loves his fishing and that sort of stuff. I don't know what Jennifer's into. I don't know her personally. What are we cooking there for that crowd? Or you could just go to your strengths, like what you guys are confident you'd whip up and would be good kai.
Like buy takeout to make it like you made it.
Love it. And if it's the end of the tournament and we're having a little knees up and there's a bit of karaoke, who's going to win that? Who's the best singer in the team, would you say? Not who thinks they're the best singer, but who is the best singer?
Oh, who's the best singer?
He's just looking at us like, you better say my name.
I'm going to say...
Apart from me, who?
Apart from Ash. I actually think Santal's got a really good voice, but she just doesn't. She's not as out there as some other girls in our team.
Yeah, I would say Santal as well.
Picking up some themes here, Aish. Picking up some themes. Girls, I want to go back to the start. Like everyone's journey is a little bit different, and particularly for some of our wahine. Like Nat, how did you get into footy? Like what got you started putting on the rugby boots and going in and moving some bodies?
I actually played like every other sport but rugby in high school. But my sister, she also played the same sports, like netball, basketball, but she wasn't that great. Sorry, sister. But yeah, so she made the transition from all those sports to rugby, and I watched one of her games one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'd like playing that sport. Like, I want to give it a go.
Yeah.
So was
she like, go away? Like, I've changed and
did.
you stop following me around?
Yeah, she was like, I asked her, I was like, can I like play rugby with you?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, this is my sport. And then I asked my mum. My mum was like, no, that's just a sport. And then I asked my dad, and my dad was like, yes, my baby, you can play rugby. And so from then on, I just like continued to play rugby.
Yeah.
Although I had to drop all my other sports.
Girls team, high school girls team, or started out with the boys? Like, how did that start?
I went to Rotorua Girls High,
awesome.
and so I played for the first 15 team there.
Cool, great rugby tradition in that town.
And then from then I moved to the under 18s Bay Plenty team, and then went all over.
Yeah. And like straight away loved it. Was it you're like, hang on, this is me, or actually like I don't know about this.
Yeah. So my sister, like, she's like a straight up the guts kind of girl, and I was like, okay, so this must be how you play. You just run it straight, and then I tried to do that, and it was so sore. I woke up the next day and my body was so sore. I was like, I don't think I could play rugby, and then I figured that you can step into space. You don't have to run into people.
Sure.
So step into space, and I woke up the next day feeling okay.
Yeah, and what a CV you put together at a young age. Like I was having a look at it. We're here in New Zealand, we're playing a bit for the Chiefs, we're playing for the Bay, we're playing for Waikato, we're over at the Waratahs, we're playing number 8, these days we're into hooker. Like, what a journey. Like, firstly, what took you to the Waratahs? That's a question. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's the men's or the women's game, it's not something you see a lot of. Like, what was the connection there to take you over to Tasman outside of a nice climate?
Well, we had just finished our Matatu season, the Super Rugby competition here, and I didn't really have a great season because I was in lockdown with Kendra Coxedge and Kendra Reynolds, and so by the time I got out, I think I only played one game. So I was like, I trained so hard and I didn't actually get to like play. And so my friend that I had made in Matatu, Arabella McKenzie, she plays for Waratahs. She went back. I seen her in the airport actually, and I was like, okay, bye. Like, I probably won't see you like ever, or like maybe later. And then she called me. And so I was catching a flight back up to the Bay. She was catching a flight over to Sydney, and she called me that afternoon. She's like, hey Nat, I was wondering if you want to come and play a couple games for the Waratahs. And I was like, yeah, when? And she's like, probably like next week. And I was like, okay, book me a flight. And then so I was there the following week.
And just get some game time.
Get some game time.
Train the house down, but nowhere to play, so might as well get out there and put the skills to work. And the whole 8-2 thing, like, was that a decision you made? Was that someone who encouraged you that maybe this would be a good way to go? Like, was it a desire to make more rep teams as well? You thought if you jumped in there that there'd be an opportunity there? Like, what drove that?
So I actually really do love number 8, but one of my coaches in the Bay, Gib, he said to me, he said to me, hey Nat, I think there's like an opportunity for you to make the Black Ferns if you play hooker. Yep. And I was like, oh, I don't know, it's a pretty tough position.
Yeah.
And then I think I just had like a really bad season. And he's like, come on, Nat, like, you just got to do it. And I was like, okay. So I transitioned from 8 to 2. And, I ended up making the Black Ferns as a hooker.
Obviously, it went all right for you.
Yeah.
Like, was it, because it is a different position. Like you say, you like playing number 8, so, but perhaps there's an opportunity at 2 and you've got to throw a few darts and there's a lot of pressure when you have to do that sort of stuff. But actually, I'm guessing, obviously, you've got the skills to do that and the tradition's gone so well. Was it just purely hard work, or you thought, I'm just going to have a crack, like this could be my opportunity?
I'm just going to have a crack. Nowadays, like, the hookers aren't like a front row, they're pretty much like a fourth Lucy.
Yeah, totally.
Especially with our game plan.
Yeah.
We're playing on top and like everyone's just continuously moving forward. So,
And you're a good old-fashioned burglar like so many of them are. Get on the back of a few driving line-outs and get a few tries. 4 tries for the season from 3 metres for total distance carried or something like that. Have you got a few of those under the belt?
Yeah, well, it's got to get on the field first. And maybe.
Yeah, awesome. Theresa, I want to ask you a little bit, again, pretty unique in the sense that it's been a crazy busy year for you, and you're probably just running from pinnacle event to tournament to the next thing, but I just want to ask you a little bit about that. Is that hard? Is it hard going from 7s to 15s? In some respects heaps of similarities, in some respects massively different. It was a no-brainer for you? You're always going to put your hand up to play 15s for the Black Ferns, or did you have to think about it?
I think since I was little, the first sport I started playing was rugby. Yeah. And so I started playing 15s first, and I guess that's where my passion came from. And so that's where my goal was to try and make the Black Ferns, and then 7s came along, and that just happened to be where my sporting journey led me. And I think when I found out that the Women's World Cup was going to be hosted by New Zealand, I was like, okay, that's me. This is my dream to play at home, to play in front of my family, and the transition between 7s and 15s is pretty difficult physically. The game's a lot longer. The space on the field's a lot smaller. The physical contact is a lot harder. Yeah. Because the spaces are smaller. But I think we have so much support around us in terms of management, S&C. The girls are amazing. I do think that there are similarities, but they are still 2 completely different games, and my body's still easing its way into the longer trainings and the different pace of the game. And so, no, it's exciting. It has been a pretty epic year for women's rugby, and amazing. So I'm just really blessed to be a part of it. So
you were at the start of the year, there was no doubt you were putting your hand up for 15s. That was always, once you knew the tournament was going to be in New Zealand, it was decision made, and you just had to go out there and get picked.
Yeah, I think I wanted to put my name in the hat, and I knew that that there are so many talented girls in this country, in New Zealand, and so that was my goal, and I guess did all that I could. I controlled all that I could, and then at the end of the day it was up to the coaches, and I was lucky enough to get the call up. So
it's awesome, and the strength of any team is depth, and I think that's something you guys are really building, is you've got a number of really, really good players in a number of positions, and if there's an opportunity, you guys will take it, and I'm sure it pushes the other girls along as well, which you talked about earlier. Aish, I've been doing some research. All right, I've been doing some research. I've been and I've been told that you're rugby's worst kept secret. You know, I've been watching you explode onto the scene this year in some of the test matches at home, and just like the point you made there, just how cool to be playing at home in front of friends and whānau. Like even for some of the pinnacle events for the sevens, it takes you far away. Like we watch you on the TV, but you're over in Africa, you're over in these wonderful destinations, but you're not here, you know, in front of your family, so it's pretty cool. But vicious rumour circulating that you've been ripping it up down in Wellington for years, and now we're just starting to see what you can do. Is that true? Don't be humble. Get out there, mix it up. But when did your rugby journey start? Like, what got you into the game?
I started playing like similar to Nat back in high school.
Yep.
I played every other sport but rugby, and my auntie and uncle coached the rugby team back at Porirua College.
Yeah.
And they were short on numbers for Condor Sevens, so they knew I had speed in my background, and they just told me, come along, all you need to do is catch the ball and run. And I did that, and then I found the love for rugby, and I started playing ever since. My granddad was a bit hesitant.
Yeah, he didn't want his little girl to get hurt?
My granddad, he was real strict on that, so there was a lot of persuading from my uncle, and eventually my granddad gave in, so we're here now.
Oh, how good. And like, because you've got a little bit of a sprinting background, so like speed has always been a thing that you've possessed, is it? Like that's always been, you knew that if you could get a bit of space, then you can do a bit of damage. Is that the case?
I would say my sprinting started from when we were little. Our first job was delivering papers, so we would try and get it done before the sun sets, and my granddad will reward us with ice cream, so yeah.
Where I'm sure your speed was top drawer. How was your arm? Like, were they going through windows and you know, like, did they actually make it to the front door, or was it all about the completion time?
Yeah.
So good. But have you how cool has it been, you know, like being in this environment with all these girls? You know, some of them are probably girls you looked up for ages, you know, like even in your position, how cool to be working with like Portia and Ruby, you know, and like learning from them and probably them learning from you and all trying to push each other along. Like, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? And in terms of, we're going to learn so much about so many of our female rugby players over the next 6 weeks, but we know a bit about those girls and they're awesome. Like, must be cool for you to rub shoulders with them every day and even, like you say, get a bit of learnings from Teddy Bear as well, or whatever it is you call Ted.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been amazing, like having people like Portia, Ruby and Pungle who have so much experience. I've learnt so much from them, and people like Portia, I've always wanted to be like her and the way she plays. And then having people like Ruby who plays with her heart on her sleeves and who will literally die on the field for the team. Like, it's been awesome. And not even that, off the field as well. They're amazing people, and I'm glad that I get to play alongside them and not against them.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like, so excited for the next wee while. But Liz, you know, what is the stuff you learn as well, girls? Like, it is, you know, okay, it's your position stuff, it's how to play footy, it's those little technical things, but even just stuff like who's ever prepared for a 6-week rugby tournament before as well, you know? Like, and I know you've got Teddy Bear there to help, you've got Smithy, but it seems like they've been pulling on their networks as well, and it seems like you've had some fantastic people come into the environment and share their experiences. And I want to ask you a little bit about that, if there's, you know, whether it's the DCs or the Richies or the Conrad Smiths or some of the guys that come in, you know, what do you take from those guys? Because, you know, you guys are outstanding in your positions as it is, but is it more about how to handle the big event and you know, how to pace yourself over through pool stages into, you know, hopefully playoffs and finals and all that sort of stuff? Is that where, you know, maybe some of the gold is with some of those, whether it's the experienced coaching group or whether it's the some of the guys that they've pulled in to talk about their experiences? Has anything stuck out for you guys?
Yeah, I think we're pretty lucky to have a bit of experience on our side in terms of the management, and then also a few players too. Our team as a whole is probably not the most experienced, but we're eager, we're ready to learn. We're really lucky to have people like DC and like Smithy and like Teddy Bear come in, and they've been through World Cup campaigns, and a few girls in our team like Kendra, Gossie, Portia, so they've all been able to help, and I think we just want to most of all just make the most of this experience. You know, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to be playing at home. And so we talk about there being pressures, but it's all privilege pressure. Like, we got everyone supporting us in our country, and so we just have to embrace that, and it's such an awesome thing.
How good. And does Smithy and Ted and, sit down sometimes after dinner and have a cup of tea and go, back in my day, I remember when we used to do it, like, do they get into the storytelling mode, or are they all business when we're in the camp, because they've got great yarns, those guys, like they've seen so much, and we see all the media stuff, the polished stuff, but behind the scenes they're great characters, aren't they? Have they done a bit of storytelling, have they shared a few old war stories?
Something similar. They'll be like, oh, well, back in my days at the All Blacks, like, we used to do this, do that. But Smithy's, like, incorporated club nights
awesome.
Now,
yeah,
which we have weekly, and it's amazing.
You're repping Oris?
Yeah, hard out. When we had kicking lessons with Daniel Carter and we told him that we have club nights, he was taken back by it, and he was saying, that was something that we always spoke about, but we never started it. So cool. It's cool that Smithy's brought it into the Black Ferns.
Yeah, so
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is our club captain.
Yeah.
You're club captain of club nights?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And what does that mean? What does that mean you have to do when you're club captain?
It's a bit scary sometimes, but we just organise games and we basically run the whole of club night, and just a bit of fun.
Yeah, and I suppose that's one thing I want to ask you a little bit, because it looks like you have a huge amount of fun, and you probably have to, don't you, when you're together heaps at the moment, aren't you? And obviously, eye on the prize and got to get the job done, but you've got to have those sorts of elements in there, don't you? Like, to break it up, to make sure that it's still a really fun environment. Is there anything else you do, or is club night, you've nailed club night, so that's doing the job?
Smithy gives us naps.
Yeah.
It's called balance.
Yeah.
So we train hard, and then we let her go shower and have a nap.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's probably for him as much as for
you
guys.
Yeah,
totally. Guys, I want to talk to you about this tournament. Like you say, there is a few players in the team who have been to World Cups before, but not you guys. And I want to talk a little bit about our team. Like, we've started to see more and more of the team playing here locally. We've seen people lighting it up a little bit. But what do you reckon? Who do you want us to keep an eye on in the Black Ferns squad over the next few weeks? Is there anyone who's going to take us by surprise, take us by storm, you think?
Everyone.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. But I suppose the style is what it needs to be on the day to get the job done. But has it just been the benefit of being together for such a long time that you can just do the detail, you can get stuck in? Like, it's all the stuff. You basically had 2 years where you weren't able to come together and work on your game, and that's been the benefit of this year, is it? It's just been getting stuck into the detail and that sort of stuff. I'm sure you've learnt a huge amount over the last wee while.
Yeah, I think the really cool thing about, like, what Natalie was saying before, is our game plan is that we all just get to express ourselves, and we've all been working really hard this past year or 2 or 3 and so to finally be able to be at the World Cup tournament and just fully express ourselves, have some fun on the field, and that's usually when the best footy comes out.
Yeah, especially with this game plan.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like once you break the line, everyone's just for themselves playing on top.
Yeah, play what's in front of you.
Being creative, really.
Yeah,
I think when you put Ayesha into space, she's gone.
Is she going to pass it, or is she just going to go?
She doesn't
might
have
pass
to.
it.
It's been my work
She
on
might pass it. She
I
might.
have been passing, but
Yeah.
Smithy's been awesome in terms of how he wants us to play and the style that he wants us to play.
Yeah.
For example, here's the wingers kicking now. I never
How's
used to.
I know Ruby's done a few chip and
Yeah,
chases,
yeah.
but like, how's yours
Ciao.
looking?
It looks good at training, but could never do it in a game. So
Yeah.
just
Oh,
building
it's
that
an
confidence.
We might see
Don't
it. We
know.
might
Might
see
see
it.
the hookers kick too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
Oh,
Mate,
never.
who knows? And what about, guys? We're seeing more and more of you guys, but we haven't seen heaps of all the teams that are coming here, which I think that's another awesome part of the tournament, is get all the New Zealand fans to understand all these different teams that play as well. Some of the guys that you're going against. Is there some teams and players that we should be making sure that we watch that game and watch out for those guys? Because we hear a little bit about the English and the French, but I've also heard a little bit about there's some great players in the Canadian team and there's some great players in the US team. Like, what do you reckon, guys? What games should we be trying to keep an eye on outside of...
Apart from us.
Apart from you, totally.
I reckon the Fiji team. This
Yeah.
is their first Rugby World Cup, so
Yeah.
it'll be cool to show them a lot of support. They're already the Rugby World Cup favourites, actually, from the opening. So,
Awesome, cool. And I know they did that a little bit in the sevens, didn't they? Fiji, they're like sort of a little bit under the radar, and then when it got to
Yeah,
come to the big
man.
tournaments, you're like, holy heck, these guys can play, you know? Like, it was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're a very exciting team to watch, and I think through the Super campaign, and they got the chance to play over there in Australia, and so
us, the Waratahs.
yeah,
And they beat us
against the
twice.
Waratahs. so no, they've been working really hard, so it'll be awesome to see them.
Oh, how good. And there's, tell me a little bit about, we've got 3 pools. Tell me a little bit how we get out of our pool. What does that mean? Who do we play? How does it cross over? Like, we obviously, I know you want to go game at a time, and we've got Aussie this Saturday, who might be the toughest game in your pool, but like, what happens after all that? Can you tell me the pathway? Do you know?
I know that so we have our first 3 pool games, and then we'll have quarterfinals. And because there's 3 pools of 4, it'll be a little bit different, and so every single game in your pool will count for points, and for whoever comes second and whoever gets the best third place too. And so every single country will be doing as best as they can for every single game.
There'll be a couple of teams that maybe get thrown points differential or something, so you got to make sure that you try and get as much out of every single game as possible, because it sort of could make the difference. Well,
Yeah.
okay, it's a bit different. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Guys, anything else we need to keep? Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to? Is it about playing in front of family? Is it about how you're handling, like, there's going to be hopefully 40,000 people at the footy tomorrow. All your friends and family. One thing I see with you guys it just seems like everything's about having fun, enjoying yourself, and expressing yourself. Is that a Smithy thing? Like really pushing and driving that, or actually that's just you girls?
Just like a black friend.
It is like a black friend.
Let's go.
Yeah, but is it as fun as it looks? Because you guys, and I don't want to disrespect for the lads, but they often come in here and they're pretty polished, and they're down the line, and you try and get a few extra bits and pieces out of them around anything really, but they always play it pretty straight. But you guys always look like you're always having a laugh, having a huge amount of fun, having banter with each other. Like, is that the gold a little bit? Is that the glue of being like a Black Fern,
Yeah, I think the Black Ferns legacy has always been to be ourselves, to be authentic, to be role models for young women in New Zealand, and so by being our true selves, like on the world stage now, it just, I guess, tries to inspire them that they can be themselves too. They don't have to try and be something straight in.
Just be yourself. Yeah, how good. And the last thing I wanted to point out, I just wanted to ask, because I know it's something they've always done in the men's side, and I want to know if they're doing it in the girls' side, is really digging a little bit into the history, like the Laurie O'Reillys and the Annie Richards, and the first tournaments, the 5 tournaments that have been overseas and never been here. Like, have you done a little bit of work around, the girls who have worn the black jersey before you and all that sort of stuff? Because I've found that massively interesting. There's been little names that I've known and little moments that I've known, but I haven't really known some of the characters and the detail. And talking to the Mel Robinsons and the Anna Richards and that, they've been reminiscing a little bit, I think, about years gone by. Have you guys looked at that stuff a little bit in the team?
Yeah, well, we have many teams, and they're all named after Black Ferns legends. And
what are they?
Oh well,
Fifi.
we're Fifi, so we're
Yeah,
we're all in the
Fifi.
same team actually, the best one.
Yeah.
So we're Fior'o, who has just finished playing, and then who are the other ones?
Colour coats.
Yeah, Killer Coat.
Oh, yep. Is that Vanessa Coots?
Vanessa
Yeah,
Coots.
she was a legend, wasn't she? Yeah.
Palmer's Angels.
Yeah, Farrah
Farrah Angels, brilliant.
Yeah, and we, as part of the club nights, we usually get one of the past Black Ferns to come in and speak to us, because we know how important it is and how we wouldn't be here in the position we are without them. They paved the way for us, and so we're now the caretakers of the jersey, and hopefully can look after it for the next people coming through.
That's so good. That seems to be a theme that it's something Mel talked about on the podcast. It's something that Anna Richards talked about, that actually a big driver for them in the jersey was inspiring other girls to get involved and play rugby, and it sounds like that's something that still goes exactly through the team values, which is awesome. Girls, I don't want to hold you up. You've got you're busy, all right? You've got
lunch.
You've got lunch. You've got to go have your sleep, and so I don't want to hold those things up. But no, I understand. It's been all go, and it's so exciting that tomorrow, you get to start the big tournament. I wish you all the success. I hope the place is packed. I'm pretty sure it will be packed. It looks like the fickle Auckland weather is going to look after us.
Yes.
And it's a goddamn festival. There is 3 games of footy. There's an amazing concert on, and I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic start to the tournament. And I hope you guys and girls and everyone go really, really well and make it through to the playoffs. Good luck.
Thank you.
The All Blacks podcast is powered by our official cloud software partner, SAP, helping our teams in black be the best run in sports. Hosted by Rob Dunne in the Hargrave Street studio. Produced by Carl Thompson from Blue and Ginge, the podcast producers. Video editing by Mac Leesburg, graphics by Western Design, content advising from Andy Burt, and commercial manager for the podcast is Valeska Hove. Follow the All Blacks podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcasts.